Kia ora, and welcome to part 1 of this 3-part presentation on what happens after you prepare and submit your article or proposal to an academic publisher. In this part, I cover undertaking the review process. First, I cover initial review, then peer review, and then exchanges with the editor. If you submitted an article or proposal to a publisher, the editor or editors will need time to review it. They may take it to their editorial board to see if it interests them and/or if it's a project worth pursuing. And for commercial publishers, they want to know if they can break even or profit from it. Many publishers request that you only submit your article or proposal to one publisher at a time. This gives them exclusive access. However, this gives you fewer options and can mean your work stays under review for a long time if it gets rejected or it needs to be submitted elsewhere. Check each publisher's guideline for their policy. You can choose to submit multiple places at the same time and tell them if you have submitted it elsewhere. If the editor thinks your article or proposal has potential, they should contact you and let you know what the next step in the process is. If you don't hear back from them for some time, you can send a follow-up email asking for confirmation they have received it or asking for a status update. If the editor is interested in your work, they will likely send it off for peer review. Peer review is a process where your peers, in other words, other experts in your field, or people who are knowledgeable about the topic, are supposed to check your work to see if it has academic merit and integrity, if it will make a contribution to the scholarship in that area, and if there are any issues that need to be addressed. There are different types of peer review. Some common ones are single-blind and double-blind. Single-blind means you do not know the identity of the reviewer, but they know who you are. Double-blind means neither of you knows who each other is. In practice, it may not be possible to disguise the identity of the author or reviewer if the field is small or if they have a distinctive writing style. The goal of peer review is to offer objective feedback on academic writing and experiments. However, there are multiple issues with the process, and it is far from perfect. Peer review can also take a long time, depending on the reviewer's schedule and workload. It's often free or very low-paid labor, so it may be a low priority for the reviewer. Often, peer reviewers have the power to decide whether the proposal or article should be published. There are several main responses they can give. Accept without changes, which is rare, meaning they accept it without you having to make any changes to the writing. Accept with minor revisions, which means they accept most of it but think there are some minor things that need to be changed first. Accept after major revisions. This is when they accept most of it but they think there are some major changes that you need to make. Revise and resubmit. This is when they think there are extensive changes that are needed, but there's still potential and they think that you could resubmit the article. And reject, which is when they don't think it has any potential, at least not with this publisher, and they outright reject it. It's important to remember that the editor plays a key role in you getting published, so it's important to maintain professional communication with them, even if you're frustrated at some of the peer review feedback or at the amount of time it's taking for your work to be published. I suggest starting formal and then matching the level of formality of the editor's responses. Here's some sample wording for an initial email to an editor that maintains a formal tone. Dear so-and-so, I write to you with an article or proposal entitled such and such. This discusses, and here you explain what the article or proposal is about and why they should be interested in it. I'm submitting this article or proposal to, give the name of the editor's publisher, because, and here you talk about why you're choosing to submit to this particular publisher. Thank you for your consideration, and please contact me with any questions. Then you give a professional sign-off, and then give your name and/or your title if you have one, and then give your institutional affiliation if you have one. I also like to give a list of attachments so that they're aware that I've attached the documents that they requested. The editor is the liaison between you and the peer reviewer. They should keep you informed about the process, but they may not. They may have difficulty finding peer reviewers for your work or chasing them up to complete the review in a timely fashion. You may have to wait several months or even over a year to receive your peer review, depending on the discipline. If the reviewer requests that you make minor or major revisions, you must decide how to respond to the feedback and whether you want to do so. In consultation with the editor, you can make changes within a certain time frame. You can also defend why you do not feel it is necessary to make some of the changes suggested. Or you can decline to defend yourself or make the changes and take the proposal or article elsewhere and start the process over again. If you do decide to make changes, ensure that you use Word's Track Changes feature or another method of tracking your changes. You may need to prove to the reviewer and/or the editor that you made the changes that you said you would. Check out the next video in this series for part 2, Reviewing Contracts.